Hello and welcome to Patch. I'm your host, Paul James. I'm joined by Matto Phillips and Jamie Penning. How are you both? Matto the man.
Sorry,
There you
I
go.
just realised I better talk. Audio doesn't work with a thumb.
Yeah, we've only done,
300.
360 odd episodes of this, and you've forgotten that there's an audio version that people listen to.
Yes, I do.
Shit happens, don't worry about it. I mentioned, though, a moment ago that we're also joined by Jamie Penning. It's good to have you on board, mate. Everyone knows that when you're here, there's a specific reason for that, and we are talking Nintendo.
We are tonight, aren't we? Yeah, I'm good. Good. Been a while, but yeah, good to be on board for this one.
It's always good to have a resident Nintendo expert, and yeah, keen to kind of pick through. As people would know, we've done a couple episodes recently dedicated to both PlayStation, Xbox, and kind of what they need to do to potentially address some needs going into 2025. Nintendo, on the other hand, is kind of, I don't know, they've been top of the world for a while now. The Switch just continued to sell. So much so that PlayStation panicked recently and updated its PS2 sales numbers to create just a little bit of extra room between it and the Switch.
Is that what Jeff was talking about? Like, hey, Jeff, ease up on the 20-year-old console powers. Like, come on.
Yeah, PlayStation updated the numbers specifically, and so that's prompted a little bit of change. And I guess Matto's interestingly frozen here, so everyone's catching.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Oh, so you're seeing
here?
it on your end as well. That's a bit weird. I'm sure we'll have him back in a sec. But of all people to have the tech issue, Matto, you're probably the one I was least expecting. But while Matto potentially fixes that, and who knows, maybe we'll get an image of an iconic character shortly. We're bouncing all over the place. We'll see what happens when he comes back. We'll talk some Nintendo anyway. Jamie, I guess the year that Nintendo's had so far, and it's not quite done. We've still got a few smaller titles coming out before the year is out. The likes of Fantasian, for example, on the RPG side. But it's pretty much done for the year. How are you feeling about where Nintendo's at going into? There we go. We got him back. Going into a year where we've been told at the very least that by the end of March we're going to get the reveal of the new console. Presumably we'll get the launch of it next year as well. How do you feel like Nintendo's positioning themselves with what they've done this year?
They're definitely in the box seat, that's for sure. They've been sitting on this for quite some time, and nearly 150 million sold Switches. They've been riding the wave for nearly 8 years now, and yeah, 2025 going to be a lot of emotions for Nintendo. Where it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a lot of trepidation. It could go either way, depending on how this next console is received. But 2025, it's shaping up to be very interesting.
And I guess Matto, how are you feeling about this final year of the Switch going into, final, I presume, full year where it's the lead Nintendo platform?
I'll say it's a sad time that I realised we'll wait and see what they bring out, and people will go absolutely bananas about and go, oh my god, it does this. It's just some silly, well, not gimmick. I don't say they do gimmicks anymore. They do things that, work.
Yeah.
Like, hey, look at this Switch. It's a handheld. You could put it on this dock, but not someone else's dock, because you'll break your Nintendo Switch, as Paul has found out once before.
Yeah, it was weird.
And everyone's like, you can play it on your TV, or you can do it handheld. Everyone's like, oh my god, I'm gonna buy it. And then Sony thought that's a great idea, and Xbox just went, hey, look, Kinect. Even though it was way before the Switch, but still.
Yeah, the timing's a bit off.
A long time ago.
The whole. Oh, geez, this is probably leading me into a surprise segue that I was going to drop a little sooner than I expected. Yeah, I guess everyone kind of has paid attention to Nintendo, but it's taken kind of different periods of time for everyone to get there. I would argue that Steam has kind of been the first one to go. The Nintendo model of having your console there's also a handheld is a pretty cool idea. How about we try and find a way to facilitate people taking their console or PC quality games on the go with them all the time? You don't need to have a separate dedicated portal, which is obviously what Nintendo had done for the longest time. PlayStation had done it with the PSP and the Vita and those sorts of things. This whole idea that Nintendo really kicked off properly by making your dedicated portable device your home console as well with the Switch has been copied by Steam, and now PlayStation's gotten in the act with the portal, which is kind of not them going the whole hog, but it's a great step in the direction, and it's been incredibly well received. They continue to sell those things as fast as they can make them at the moment, and now we've had both Daddy Phil Spencer at Xbox, and then of course PlayStation themselves talking about the fact that they're now both kind of developing some sort of dedicated portable platform that doesn't necessarily sound like it's going to be a PSP or a DS or like a separate platform, but just a way to take the games that you already own portable with you. So I guess the question that I would ask the both of you is, if that does eventuate, if PlayStation and Xbox do go down that path as well, and they'll have their PS5 or PS6, and they'll have their I don't know, whatever Xbox calls it, probably Infinite, because their naming conventions are awful. If they have like their next gen consoles and they have some sort of, again, Steam Deck style option where you can take those games with you on the fly, does that maybe cause Nintendo to worry a little bit? Because now all of a sudden the thing that was kind of their ace in the hole, outside of their incredible franchises, on the hardware side, their ace in the hole was the fact that they had this really cool hybrid model. If the other two suddenly start doing that, does that take one of their big advantages away? Like, do you think they can? Like, do you think IP alone still gets them through?
I don't think it's just IP. It's also price. When you look at all the Steams and potential, future, portables with Sony and Microsoft, you're still looking at quite a significant price point for just a base model, especially when if you look at Steam Deck, for example. It's like nearly $900 for just the base model.
Yeah,
roughly, somewhere around that.
It's definitely not cheap. Yeah.
No. Whereas Nintendo is, it never has had a price drop since it released. It goes on sale. Never had a price drop, but it's still under. If you're getting a non-OLED model, you're still paying under $500 for a hybrid Nintendo you can take with you and also play at home on the TV. And while the competitors are giving possibly stronger options in terms of hardware, it's still, Nintendo is still more appealing to a wider audience, including families and children, and not just PC players or PC players or anything like that, portable players that want something a bit more beefier, that has a bit more to it. And seeing Nintendo, it provides a good console for a good price, and to be competitive, you need something that's more for not a small audience. You need it for a big audience.
Yeah, they need to be able to reach as many people as possible, and that is half the battle. And just to, I guess, quickly provide the little pricing update there. So the OLED model of the Steam Deck. So I guess the closest comparison, which is the 512 gig model, is $900 Australian dollars. Now, of course, the capacity is far greater than the Switch, but memory is not the expensive part in this scenario. When you're measuring things in gigabytes, not terabytes, the memory is not the price difference there. So,
especially if you get games, if you get game at 80, 100 gig, then you're not gonna fit much on a terabyte.
Yeah,
really. So, you're only gonna take maybe 3 games with you, whereas Switch you could take hundreds.
Yeah. Matto, how are you feeling about, I guess, what it potentially means for PlayStation and Xbox? And admittedly, it's probably still 2 years away at the earliest anyway, I think, for both of them. But if they then come out swinging with a proper way to take your PS5 portable or your Xbox portable.
I think the thing is, I think what Jamie pointed out, with the Nintendo Switch, it's a 2-for-1. Where you can use it on your TV. We go handheld. Where something like with PlayStation at the moment, you don't. You have to buy
A
the
separate piece of
handheld
kit,
part
yeah.
separately because where you gonna put it in that tower, but also it doesn't have the power to do it because you're not gonna get a handheld Pro with the big three components of what Mike Cedi or whatever his name is.
Yeah, Mark
the
Cerny.
Cedi, the Cerny, that guy. They're one that Sony people love for some reason because
His
he
voice
makes
is
sense.
so,
That's why he
and his
makes
voice is
perfect
so
sense when he
gentle and
says stuff
calm and
like
haunting. It's weird.
the calm and soothing and everything like that. You go, I'll listen to you all day, Mike or Mark or whatever your name is. Something that starts with an M. And then there's Xbox, and that's, well, they could do something really, really great, or just set the place on fire for about the 14th time in 2 years.
Yeah,
I would honestly say if they did a handheld, it'd be the same size as the first Xbox controller they do. It's just a big, bulky piece of crap. And people are going to go, where the hell am I meant to put this? It's like a widescreen TV. Or your TV you found on the street one day in Melbourne.
yeah, good one. Very drunk that night too. Still have it. Well, I've tested it once. It works. I didn't just grab shit off the street. Well, I did.
You find a nearby PowerPoint to test it first. And
I
go,
have tried it. I have tried it.
No, I mean while on the street.
Oh, it's a small
Me,
enough TV that I was like, I'll just throw it in the bin if it's no good. But anyway,
there you go.
that's a whole other off-camera story that we don't need to catch everyone up with now that the show started. But look, yeah, I mean, Matt, I think your point, I guess both of you kind of, the point is good that at the moment, like the Switch and presumably this successor, they are the handheld and the console in one, as opposed to what you would have to do for either of these, PlayStation or Xbox scenarios where, well, no, actually, no, I guess it's a weird one. Like, you're making compromises specifically if you pick up, because these things won't be tethered to the console anymore. You won't have to own a PS5 or a PS6, or you won't have to own an Xbox One or Infinite or whatever we end up calling it next. They will be standalone devices that will just be portable PS5s, like portable consoles. But you know that you're making a major compromise in that case, whereas the Switch, well, it does both, and the compromise is much smaller when you go portable there. And largely that's also due to the nature of a lot of the IP, I think, that Nintendo fosters. Like they're so transferable, and they look beautiful without being technically demanding, so it allows that. There's still not that many games, despite how long in the tooth the Switch is. There's not that many games where when you shift from docked mode to handheld mode, you notice a really obvious difference in quality. And it does exist, but like it's very, very small. And Nintendo absolutely needs to be applauded for that, because it's pretty extraordinary. So then, scale that up with whatever this next console needs to be and is going to be, and I expect more of the same. It's going to be great.
The compression team must be amazing, because the ability to actually fit what they can fit onto a 32 gig cartridge,
All that too, yeah.
it's just insane.
Yeah, they got some wizards over there, and not just Miyamoto.
Yeah, the whole team just trying to fit. I think Tears of the Kingdom was one of their biggest, of like 19 gig or something like that.
No,
That was the
19
biggest
gig. Holy shit, that's small.
Yeah, I think Breath of the Wild was like something ridiculous, like 7 gig or something like that. They had done a remarkable job at actually compressing the data, and yet still not losing all the potential quality that they could have lost.
Yeah, I don't get the magic behind the whole thing.
Yeah, it's typical wizardry.
So, how much does this console come out for next year? Well, presumably next year. I think that's probably fair to assume at this point. We'll talk in Aussie dollars. So sorry, in Aussie dollary dues. So Americans, Europeans, wherever you might be from.
No, the Americans
Fuck
will
off and take your
understand
currency
if we
with
say
you.
dollar. Well, the Americans will understand when we say dollary dues. It's a classic
true,
episode of
true.
The Simpsons over there, so they'll know what we're talking about.
$900 dues.
It's dollar bucks.
Well, yeah, we
Dollar
could
bucks
talk in
now.
bluey
It's all
dollar
bluey.
bucks.
It's
Yeah.
dollar bucks. What do you think, Matt? How much do you think it'll be?
Oh, it's a really tough one. What's the one 500 at the moment? I sort of feel like with whole inflation situation and all that, I'm gonna put it up to around It feels like the price is right. We're going to be talking about 700.
We're going to have the little guy that's going to start yodeling as he goes up the mountain. If you go too far, you're going to fall off the top.
Oh,
What a game that was.
I'm
What
going to
did
say
the-
700.
What? Yeah. What did the OLED model launch for when it first came out here? Was it 550?
539.
539.
539.
539.
I love
The
it.
Is
You
that
can
all?
just
original
recall that
of
information
the-
off the top of your head.
The non-OLED was
Oh.
469.
There you go. I thought it was more than that. I'm blown away.
No.
Now, of course, our understanding, at least based on some rumors and reporting up to this point, is that the launch Switch 2, whatever it is not going to be OLED. I believe it's going to be an LCD screen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they
And that's supposed to be a cost-saving measure.
yeah. And you can get some pretty high quality LCD screens. So I mean, there's obviously gonna be some people that'll be disappointed by that, but also I don't understand the logic in that one, because if you're looking for the best quality, best picture and best this and best that, then you're probably not just trying to play it portably anyway. You're probably gonna play it on your big screen, or you're looking at a different platform. So those people can jam it. LCD is gonna be perfectly fine out the gate, and then yeah, if there is some sort of OLED model or upgraded model in the future where there's a better screen, well, great. But Nintendo's, I think, priority, and I guess this links to our conversation itself, is that they want to keep that price nice and accessible for everyone. Ideally, presents for kids, presents for the grown-ups themselves, whatever it happens to be. You want to get that thing's price down where you can. So 700 with Matto. I'll give you a chance to, like, given that you now know what the price of the original Switch was and the price of the OLED, does that change your $700 before we continue moving on?
699. 699. It looks cheaper.
Jamie, how about you?
As Matt said, it's a tough one, because you got to get it right.
And
you
this
gotta get it
market
right
is difficult
first
too
go.
at the moment.
It is extremely difficult all around the world. We're all in a cost of living crisis at the moment, and everyone's struggling. But I can see this is probably going to be in either $5.99 or $6.49. I'm leaning towards $49 than $99, but they're going to try and keep it as reasonable as possible. But still, it still has to be more, because it's the newer technology than what the previous one was, because obviously it's well over 8 years old. The tech in it is, some of the tech's even 10 years old.
Yeah.
So, and even then, with new tech, new tech eventually becomes cheaper as well. So, I'm leaning towards $5.99 now. Actually, now that I think about it, I reckon it'll be $5.99, and if it comes on sale here, it will probably be closer to $500. But yeah, $5.99 would be probably the ideal price.
Yeah, I
for our
think
market.
it's probably the ideal one for on the consumer side. It's interesting that we're all going to fit within a $100 range of each other here, because I'm on the $6.49 bandwagon, only because, and again, obviously we're talking Aussie dollars. They will save a little bit of money when it comes to, and actually I can see some merit in the $5.99 $600 model as well, simply because they're going to save money by going from OLED down to LCD in terms of the screen. And again, it's not going to be that big of a problem, I think, for the consumer, though, at the end of the day. There's also, and I presume Nintendo is going to get in on this race. We've seen DLSS tech with Nvidia, PlayStation with their PSSR, like a lot of these AI-driven upscaling things, which take a lot of the burden off the actual hardware and allows the AI to do a lot of the work for you. I feel like we're going to see more and more of this sort of thing going on with some of the consoles, which will produce those better visuals, maybe for Nintendo, that then results, and they are, I believe, partnered up with Nvidia for this thing as well. If I recall, so it could well
I
have,
do remember, yeah.
DLSS straight out of the box, and in that case, well, that probably does something for the price too. If you're not going to have to really beef, I mean, I know you want to future-proof yourself a little bit, but if you're able to take some of that hardware cost away, because AI is going to do some of the lifting in terms of up-resing and any of those sorts of things you might want to do, that might cut the price. I can see your point, Jamie, of $5.99, given all my ramblings just now, but my gut, for some reason, says $6.49. That's simply due to the fact that the OLED was 539. With this current market, the way we've seen inflation and all those sorts of things, I'm not going to turn this into a big economics podcast, but I think there's enough different factors there, let alone the technical jump, that pushes it up $100. Nothing outrageous. We're not talking PS4s to PS5s, but I could see the $100 or $110, I guess technically from the OLED, $110 price increase there, personally.
Yeah, optimistic $599, realistic $649, potentially $699. Yeah, that's. I think we're all in the ballpark.
And watch us all get blown out of the water here when we find out that it's actually the most powerful console you've ever seen, and they're going to charge you $1,200 because it's that and it's portable, and Nintendo knows you'll buy it. They're not going to pull one of those tricks, but it'd be fascinating to see it nonetheless.
No.
Well, that depends. Does it come with a Pokemon card starter pack?
For TCG Pocket.
Yeah. With all
I can get
all
around
the
it.
kids are going crazy for these days.
Man, it's not just the
Or a
kids.
Mario hat. Or just everyone. Oh, look at you. Oh, no. Oh,
Mate,
dear.
I've only got 3 cards left to get.
What do you win?
It's driving nothing. I just want the collection. Well,
So
actually, no.
it's just like the
Sorry,
so-
no. When you get it, when you get the entire first
You
150, you get a Mew as well. But
You get a certificate saying good job. And that's
yeah, but
it.
I'm not ponying up money, which is good. Like I've gotten within 3, and it's all legit. And then I strategically timed the free trial for which is now I'm never going to be able to do it again. But the free trial for the premium pass, scored myself a fancy Mewtwo the other day. Good times. This game's got me hooked, which is a worry then for my wallet because it'll eventually get me. But right now,
Okay.
the FOMO hasn't won, and I just need myself an Aerodactyl, a Beedrill, and a Blastoise, and then we're golden. We're good. Just in time for him to launch a new wave of cards, of course. Now,
Yeah,
let
later this month, anyway.
yeah, I believe it. Yeah, sometime December, which is not great. I don't love that's coming up. But that probably, not that I intended it, but probably segues us over to some of the software side of things. Now we know that the Switch is going to have some games already early next year. We've obviously got Donkey Kong that's already on the docket. Jamie, a game that you and I are very excited about, and Matto, as he's become a fan of the franchise in recent months and years. We've got Xenoblade Chronicles, or Xenoblade Chronicles X. The remaster of that is coming out. Was that March sometime? I think it was March, if I recall.
March 20th.
Um,
March 20 something.
Yeah, it was sometime in that March window for sure. I'll try and check that because I know I have it noted here. But yep, March 20. Oh Jesus, he's good. March 20. But outside of that, there's nothing else that we specifically know of with a date yet. There is the looming presence of Metroid Prime 4, of course. There is the looming presence of the new console. What do we see from Nintendo on the software front next year in terms of phasing out the Switch, in terms of launching the new console? How many of these, what sort of games are potentially going to straddle both platforms? Will anything that's exclusive, like coming out from Nintendo, be on both platforms? I guess, how do things need to look on the software side going into next year?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's also Pokemon Legends.
Oh yeah,
ZA
sorry,
that's
yeah,
coming
ZA or
out
whatever it
as
is. Yeah.
well. Yeah, the software is. They need to come strong out of the blocks with this new console release. But then also leading up to it, it's pretty light on. I'm pretty going to continue the cadence of roughly a first party title of some degree, one every couple of months. It used to be, one a month, and it was at some point this year as well. It was one a month.
Yeah, they were hitting that
leading-
pretty consistently for a while there.
And I think that's something important to them to keep that cadence up. But when it comes to the new console, I think we're going to see a crossover for quite some time because they've already said that the software should be backwards compatible with the original Switch, so the Switch games will get played on both the original Switch and whatever the next console is going to be.
Super Switch.
So yeah, we'll see a lot of crossover, and I can't see that changing for well over a year after its release. So you won't see anything exclusive for quite some time, just because they want to keep that other market open with people still wanting to buy original Switches. But then that's also a problem as well, because they've got to look at how do they market the new Switch and get people to switch over. Pardon.
But
Yeah, so it while software is going to be very important, and then, as I was saying, keeping that release schedule going will be very important for them. But there will be a lot of crossover for quite some time.
Matto, thoughts?
Well, if you want to get people to buy the new console, that's easy. Donkey Kong Edition, Mario Edition, Zelda Edition, all the editions, all you want. That's what gets suckers in. You say, oh, hey, here's the Super Nintendo Edition, and everyone will go absolutely bananas, unless you're EB, because you're not level 5, so too bad, you get nothing. That's all. Or, here's the GameCube Edition. The GameCube Edition, the console that no one brought because, it didn't have a DVD player or a hard drive, so you couldn't put all your tunes on it.
All the revisionists that come out of the woodwork saying, "Oh yeah, I used to have a GameCube and played it all the time." And like, no, mate, there was hardly any. Now there was hardly any sold. I know the three of us are all in that boat.
Name a game,
but
name a game that's not Nintendo in the Nintendo family.
Yeah,
they wouldn't be able to name one.
People start to struggle exactly, and that says a lot about those people. They missed out, but absolutely, let's have it in like GameCube purple or even the orange. Be really obnoxious and have it in the orange.
If you to prove that you're a true Nintendo fan, you have to bring your GameCube in. The physical version, not the box. You can just find a box anywhere. Just bring your GameCube in, plug it in, it works.
Jamie's about to wheel a GameCube out now. He's just got one under the desk ready to go. I'm looking at one, just off camera at the moment. I can't.
I do have one. It's out of reach.
My old childhood GameCube is at my parents' place, and then the one I've got here is one that I picked up as I was going to, kind of collect consoles for my own purposes. For that CRT that I grabbed from Hard Rubbish. For me, when it comes to the games over the course of the year,
one thing that sorry,
no, you go.
I was about to say that what they need to get to market the new Switch is a new Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Considering they sold 65 million of them on the original Switch.
Yeah, they're continuing to do it pretty easily when it comes to that one. See, I see the logic around the lack of reason to have exclusives because they'll want to kind of appease both markets. And I guess the main reason I kind of see that is because we're seeing PlayStation, Xbox continue to struggle with it a little bit these days, in the sense that PlayStation in particular, because they were the more dominant one of the two last generation, they still struggle. Like they've still got. It's only very recently, maybe the last 12 months, if I recall, where the number of active players on PS5 was equal to the number of active players on PS4. They just cannot seem to get people away from the PS4 and over to the PS5, despite how fast the PS5 is selling. The user base continues to, and I'm sure Grand Theft Auto probably has a little bit to do with that, but they just cannot seem to pull people across to the PS5, and same sort of story goes for the Xbox Series at the rate that they would like. So it's definitely like a problem that Nintendo needs to be mindful of, I guess. But I also feel like with the cadence that Nintendo's created for themselves in the last couple of generations, I mean, they've 2 out of their last 3 have been $100+ million sellers, and they've been global phenomenons that have sold wildly fast. And then maybe like the Wii, they kind of fizzled out or something like that pretty as quickly as oh, there we go, he's wheeled out the GameCube. Jamie can't see it, but it's a black GameCube, mate. So. Oh, now everyone's fishing around for a GameCube. He's going to get one too. I'm going to have to go get one before this is done. But while everyone's fishing out their GameCubes, yeah, my thinking is that actually something like Metroid will cross generations, a bit like Breath of the Wild did. I think they've simply invested too much time, and they've also marketed this. Oh, there we go. We've got 2. I'm going to let the team down here when I get a silver one out. But they've invested too much time, and they've marketed this as a Switch game already. that they can't not launch Metroid
Yes.
Prime 4 on the
Yeah.
Switch. But I don't think the turnaround from that point onwards will be. I don't think it'll be that long before we do very quickly start getting. And I wouldn't even rule out similar to like we had Breath of the Wild as a Wii U and Switch game, but then and admittedly totally different beast, trying to do different things, but like 1-2 Switch, boom, instantly Switch exclusive. Obviously, the name had a bit to do with that. We had ARMS coming out pretty quickly. We had Splatoons coming out pretty quickly, and a few of these, Splatoon in particular, was a game that absolutely could. And Mario Kart. Well, Kart Deluxe was already a Wii U game, but like games that you could have made an argument would they'd run on the Wii U, or that's a game that you could see working on the Wii U. Didn't. Now again, the Wii U didn't sell. that's a big disclaimer in the whole thing. But I could see them very quickly going, no, we can get these exclusives on the new console, and people will jump ship because that's what they've been doing lately. Like people will just jump across to a new Nintendo, especially if they price it right. So I'm gonna go with the fact that Metroid will be day and date. Now I guess we'll also get to the when, but I feel like that'll be day and date for both platforms. Then after that, by the time, and I presume it's gonna be within the first 12 months of this thing that we'll see our first big Mario game, and I would imagine it's probably a 3D one. I reckon that'll just be a Switch 2, Super Switch, next generation exclusive. I don't think they'll waste their time with that one because they will just back in the power of their IP to prompt people to go buy the box, and I think they'll be pretty comfortable in doing that. Thoughts?
So when was the last time a Mario game was on 2 consoles at the same time? Besides the remasters, like Sunshine,
Yeah,
the Galaxy, and
when
the
it was
other one.
when they were a new release, it hasn't really happened. And to be fair, there's not been a huge amount of that over the years anyway. Zelda's kind of been the one, from Twilight Princess to Breath of the Wild.
First time, yeah. So it'd be the first time in 20 years there's not a crossover if they don't do it. You would think they would.
They will, because Metroid will be that. But well, assuming it's a launch title, but I think even if it's not, whenever it does come out, it will be both because they've kind of marketed it that way. They probably have to at this point, or they feel like they have to, because they do love their audience and they do respect their audience, and they don't want to go, that thing that we said was a Switch game, psych, you can only buy it on the new box now. Give us somewhere between $5.99 and $6.99 plus the console. Sorry, plus the game.
It's probably the same thing they said about Donkey Kong Racing.
Well, yeah.
On the GameCube.
I'm gonna go get my
Never
GameCube
happened.
now.
Never happened.
Keep going. I'm gonna go get my GameCube.
Where is it? You gotta get
That's
it.
because Rare got bought.
Yeah, damn Xbox.
Uh,
What was the other one they had? What's the new one?
but
Oh, Cameo. Yeah, that never made it to Nintendo. That went straight to Xbox.
yeah.
Look.
Hmm.
I'll put that down. Oh no, box is gonna break.
Well, at least we got handheld Rare for a while. Like,
We did. Oh, here we go. Oh, he's even got 2 memory cards in there. Wait, that's a fake one. Who's taking it? Come on. Who's taking it out? There we go. Oh, look at you with your silver one. Oh,
To be
Fancy.
fair,
let's get them all up.
it was looking pretty brown when I first picked it up. The amount of dust that was on it.
oh right. It just
I
felt
have
like this
Game
whole,
Boy.
where that good games like put your controller out. Now it's just Nintendo saying, "We're just here. Hold your GameCubes up. Go outside."
Just prove you weren't some passenger. Or you're not talking shit.
Some
Like-
loser said, "I loved GameCubes." Like,
like-
no, you didn't. Don't
That's-
you dare lie.
It's a
And-
handheld. Look.
I know the grips.
It's a purse.
It's a satchel. Indiana Jones has one. It's the thing that drives me mad the most around the GameCube, and I guess kind of what started to steer me down this path, because I wasn't actually necessarily talking about planning to talk about the lack of GameCube adoption, but it was more the people go, no, Wind Waker was always good, and like, please, you're right. The game was
wasn't
always good, but none of you thought it
It
was.
was good.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
still is amazing. But
Yeah, everyone's like, "Oh, look at it, looks like shit." And like, if you played it, it's like,
Exactly.
no. It's like, go play it. And like, oh, it's the best game ever. I was like, get out of here, you dickhead. Give me my GameCube back. Get out.
all these people that were like poo-pooing the Wind Waker and saying it was shit and it's not a real Zelda game and blah blah blah, blah cell shaded, blah, blah, blah. No, shut up. But they're all coming out of the wood going, no, I never said that. I'm like, fuck you.
Get out of here.
Anyway, that's enough of that.
Shut your face. I mean,
We'll hold
do
our
you enjoy
GameCubes up
Eternal
again before the end of the
Darkness?
show.
So, you ever played Eternal Darkness? No. Well, get out.
And that's a good one to call people out on too, because it hasn't popped up anywhere else.
No.
I
Never.
haven't played it.
What
Well,
was
then
that?
you can
I
ask him
played
if.
Soul Calibur. Soul Calibur.
We were talking about we were talking about this not long ago.
But I don't think anyone's going to doubt you, Jamie, and your pedigree, though.
And then we can talk about how was Donkey Kong Racing? And they say, yeah, it was great. They say, wrong. Never got made. Never got released. Get out. Shoo.
Jamie will
And,
say, "Oh, what's that?
Dinosaur
Well, I
Blade.
didn't play Eternal Darkness, but you know what I played? Donkey Konga." And everyone will go, "I believe it."
That's a true GameCube right there.
That's actually not true. Oh,
So we've gone with the price. We've gone with the competition over the course of the next few years. 'Cause it's going to take a little while. When? So we know that we're going to get the console announcement before the end of March. Let's start with when does it happen? Is it a Keeley job? Is it a December job? Is it a bit like the Switch? Was it just as we ticked into the new year? Is it late, like right before the end of March? When do we get the announcement? When's that going to happen?
March
what do
10th.
you think?
March 10th.
Mario Day. Mario Day.
Oh.
Is that when we're getting the release or the announcement?
No, we're
I would
talking the
love it
announcement.
to-
At the
I
moment.
would-
We're talking the announcement.
I
right
would
now.
love them
Alright.
to. I would absolutely love it. They said, "Hey, here's the new Nintendo available today." Everyone would just jump out the window and just ignore what they're doing and just go pre-order.
My faith in the gaming community will be restored if that sort of scenario plays out. Not because it's launching on Mario Day or anything like that, but the idea that they could say, "Hey, here's the new console, and also it's available now." That tells me that
no.
they kept the secret so tight, or the leakers found out and shut their mouths, and I just don't believe that could ever happen. So, as much as I desperately would love to see that occur, that's like the dream scenario where they just go, "Here you go, here it is," and also if you want to go down to your local store, pick it up. That would be amazing, but sadly I think we'll have to wait. But Jamie, when do you think they're going to announce it? So we've got March 10 from Matto, which is I like that. Or we'll give you the out here because time zones and all those sorts of things. We'll say March 10 or 11. It's it's March 10 somewhere. We'll go with that. Jamie, how about you?
March 10 is a Monday, so
I don't think Nintendo
looking
cares
at-
what day it is.
no, that's true.
It
That's
prints
definitely
money.
True.
Because their directions on a Wednesday and they don't care. It's just like, oh hey, how's it going? Like, oh good.
I reckon just having a look at the calendar.
And will Mario peek
Gotta
out from
have-
behind a curtain again?
I reckon
Sounds
it'll
creepy.
You haven't seen
it'll
it?
be February.
No,
Yeah, that
just
was
how you
it-
describe it, Mario behind a curtain just sounds a bit sus.
I didn't
I'll
say
have to-
I didn't say a shower curtain. But Google it then. If you don't
no.
like, is Mario peeking out from behind a curtain? Yeah.
Just please don't
I-
come up with some weird stuff.
No. If,
Sorry.
assuming
No.
assuming
No,
you're
I mean,
dodging the
don't
way you
Google-
type it. Yeah. Just
There's
turn
a
your
lot.
just turn your safe search on.
An image.
That looks creepy. Unless it's not, that just looks weird.
I'm hoping that you're looking at the same sort of thing, like the official looking one. It looks like someone in a Mario suit.
It's
Yeah.
it's behind a red curtain.
And all I see is Kakao say creepy Mario photo as the description. I would be mortified if I woke up and saw that.
Is it a red curtain? Yeah, like a creamy thing, I think.
Creepy curtain, yes.
Yellow in
Just
the
his
background.
face. Yes.
Yeah, that's the one.
Good. I'm glad we're looking at the same one.
Yeah,
So
we
it's
are
not,
looking at the same one.
It's not like when we put Fire Dicks in once and we got two completely different searches.
Bad.
Oh no,
bad,
it wasn't
bad
Fire.
time.
No, it wasn't Fire Dicks. It was Dicklets. That was it.
Oh,
You
yeah.
got something
Oh.
completely different. I got something. I got the right thing.
Fucking Pokemon Company ruining things for everyone. So sorry, Jamie. Did you actually drop a date in the end? There, we got so distracted by
No.
Mario behind curtains.
Mario behind curtains.
I'm Mario behind a curtain. Yeah. No, I'm looking at 14th of February. I'm looking at
Ooh, March
my
10th
wife's
release.
birthday.
Excellent.
My wife's birthday.
Valentine's Day. It's a love you want. Nintendo,
That's-
my true love. Brilliant.
Our oldest love would be Nintendo. Fair to say that.
And second is for some people, Shrek.
yeah, maybe. So February 14, March 10. I'm gonna say they follow the exact kind of Switch model all over again and go for that like January. First, it was I can't remember. It was like the first few days of January, wasn't it? It was like 5th or 6th.
It was like
it was crazy early.
I think. Yeah.
So I'm gonna take a look at the calendar to make sure I at least get the right sort of a day, like an actual weekday. I'm gonna say January 9th. So it's a Thursday. Thursday,
My
January 9th.
argument also, my argument also for the 14th is that in a couple of weeks afterwards is I believe it's the 30th anniversary of Pokemon. So they would like to show something off in
Yeah, get it out before that.
Pokemon Presents. So they'd probably want to, hopefully Nintendo to show something before that. So
That makes
then
sense.
they can show something for the new console.
No, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of rationale behind that. Obviously, it's a complicated situation in terms of who's driving who these days, Pokemon and Nintendo and all those sorts of things. But maybe it's actually just the Nintendo legal teams who are given all the Pal World stuff, but and everything else that Nintendo's suing for at the moment too, actually. But we'll never upset you, Nintendo. We love you. Don't sue us. Thumbs up all around. So, okay, then I guess the other half of that question then becomes: so we're saying we've got January 9, we've got March 10, we've got February 14. When does the console come out? We'll end we'll kind of end proceedings with that because that's obviously the thing that people want to know most is when this thing's coming. So
Does Nintendo have any other fancy days that they have? Like they have Nintendo Day. They have like
every day is Nintendo Day.
every day is Nintendo Day. Oh, 4th of July.
They just steal Independence Day.
Why not? It's not like they're gonna do anything this year.
I'm thinking July as well. I'm thinking July, get that initial wave up, and then get another wave before Christmas. Let's go with. We're looking at Friday. Oh, my birthday's on a Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and 4th of July is a Friday.
Oh.
Seems to be always a Friday, 4th of July. I don't understand it.
You see, there's 365
Okay.
days in a year, Matto. And
know
every now
that.
and weeks are 7 days. It doesn't compute
know,
properly.
every now and
So
again.
from time to time, and every now and then we go and toss an extra day in for the year. Anyway, sorry, go on, James.
Maybe 2.
Like, yeah. yeah, alright, if Matt's going to take the point, I'm going to say the 11th of July. I can, get in mid-year, get that initial wave through, and then get another direct going, September, October-ish, and have the announcements all for holidays. There you go, you got your 2 waves sorted.
Well, I guess I'm going way off base with this one then. So you're both talking about July. You're talking about a February or a March reveal, and then a July launch. I'm going earlier than that. I'm of the mind that they're going to go the Switch. Our plan for the Switch worked, and if we keep to that script, we'll have similar sort of success. So they announced it in January. They launched in March. Now I'm not going to say they're going to quite hit March. That would be pushing it, considering they're currently saying, hey, we'll announce it by the end of March. But I'm of the mind that, I mean, that comment is just there because it's around financials and those sorts of things and financial years, etc. I'm going to go with the idea that they announce, as I said, in January, and they launch in April. I'm going to go with April 18th. And so we come out the blocks with, say, your Metroids or something like that. I initially thought a week later, but that's probably pushing it too close to Easter.
I was going to say, when's Easter? Is that a week?
Oh, unless Easter's not. I'm kind of expecting Easter to be like the
20th of April.
Or maybe I need
Next
to.
year.
Maybe I need.
Yeah, I think.
Maybe I need to go a week earlier than that. Then sorry, I'll wind that back another week. Then sorry, for some reason I thought Easter was a week later. Far close to Anzac Day this year, but next year. But okay, so then I'll walk that back and I'll go the 11th of April then, because actually the 18th would be Good Friday, so that's not happening. April 11th is when I reckon they'll launch it, and I reckon we see Metroid and come out early on in the piece. We then get your Pokemon that comes out, kind of mid-year ish, only for our big 3D Mario to be the big hitter for the end of the year. And then we see Mario Kart early, sometime the following year, and we again kind of follow this model that works so well. Not because they necessarily want to emulate it. I don't think we're going to see, all the same beats being hit like as they did last time. But that gets you off to an incredibly strong start. I think you have a big, strong launch title. It doesn't take you that long before you've got your Pokemon, which was a bit different last time around. We got like the Pokken DX remaster. But then you got Mario at the end of the year, and then Mario Kart came after that, and the momentum just didn't stop. And I feel like they're going to go for that sort of model again, which means they kind of want to give themselves a little bit of time because they don't want to shoot their shot too early with too many of those big hitters in that first, like in the space of 3 months. They want to maybe spread some of them out over the course of 7 or 8 as you kind of drive towards Christmas at the end of the year. That's my gut feel anyway. I just think they can't help but ignore what worked for them last time. Am I off base?
No,
Nah, I
not
wouldn't
at
have
all.
thought so.
We could be
I
off
would-
base.
Well, yes, we all could be off
Yeah,
base, but
that's
like, am I getting too carried away? I don't know. Like if they're talking about
I reckon
announcing
next
by the
lot,
end of March.
Like if not April, I reckon May's probably the next best bet as well, because then you've got the Summer Games Fest and all the announcements that they have in June. So third parties will be wanting to get on board with that to present all their upcoming titles for the new console.
Is there any
we
chance
already
that,
know
speaking of Summer Games Fest, and so I guess Keeley jobs, I know we've just kind of outlined a whole bunch of dates where we think the console will be announced. Do either of you think there is any chance that Keeley has anything to do with the announcement of this thing, given the Game Awards are now, 2 weeks away?
Nah.
No.
Do we see a
Nintendo
game
will-
from that comes from the... we'll end it with this. Do we see it at that event? And we've seen, like we saw it happen with Breath of the Wild, for example, going into, and admittedly, again, it was a Wii U game for the longest time before that. Do we see a Switch 2 or Super Switch, whatever we want to call it, game before we see the console? Like what happened with Breath of the Wild.
No.
No.
I don't think so
Outside of
either.
Metroid, I guess, because we technically, maybe it's just more Metroid.
Still
No,
maybe.
I don't
Maybe
think so.
Metroid.
I think they'll show the console first. They want to show it first to make sure that people know what's going on and not try to mix the message that, here's this new Mario game. It's for the Switch 2, but we haven't got Switch 2 to show you yet. So
That's fair.
I think they'll create some mixed messages, thinking that the console's probably delayed, and honestly, they cannot delay it much more than what they already have.
Yeah.
So I think we'll see console first, and then we'll see games.
That's fair. Matto? Yeah, nothing
No,
when it comes to
I
Keeley.
reckon all we see from Keeley is the usual. Please wrap it up.
Hollow Knight Silk Song. Oh, when?
Oh,
No.
don't do it. Fuck. Yeah, I don't
He
think it'll
won't
happen, but
learn.
maybe Metroid is the one. Like, if there's going to be anything, it's just doubling down on Metroid because they've already shown a bit now, so they can kind of lean into that further and go, well, it's already a known commodity at this point. We can show off a whole bunch of stuff. They maybe don't even say, hey, you're seeing Switch 2 footage here, but what it ends up that we saw was Switch 2 footage. Could be something along those sort of lines.
Or do they give a Switch release for Metroid Prime?
Yeah, I think they probably need to. They've advertised it that way up to this point.
They have to, I think.
Not a Switch 2 or whatever it's going to be.
No.
I think it'll be both, just like a Breath of the Wild.
I don't know. I think it's the Switch, and it's just playable. And they might have a patch for Switch 2, and
yeah, that could work.
when you play it, it has an up-res patch for the newer console. And that would probably be the cleanest way to do it.
Yeah, it would be a pretty clean way to do it, and certainly it doesn't kind of mess you around with different SKUs and those sort of things. But on the flip side, maybe with the jump in generation, there's also an opportunity for them to raise the price of their games, kind of in step with what's been going on industry wide. And so maybe they'll want to have a Switch 2 version of it, because that version they can go, well, it's a new console. Everything's more powerful. We can justify the extra $10 or $15 or $20. Again, talking about Australian money that they slap on it. I mean, Switch prices have been very affordable. Like, Switch game prices have been very affordable. They've been retailing for $80 most of the time, save for only a couple of exceptions. Zelda was one of those. Tears of the Kingdom did get a price bump compared to everything else. Maybe this is their opportunity to now list the prices of everything. And so they might sell it on both, and sure, the Switch version will be the cheaper one, but we can make more money off you if you buy it on the Switch too.
Again, it comes back to that compromise of, do we up the price to make a bit more money, or do we keep the price the same to make sure it's more available to more people? Yeah.
Well, the argument might be that it's both, and that way they can have their cake and eat it too. All right, well, that's nearly an hour of speculation around all things Nintendo. It's going to be a big year to come, Jamie. As soon as we get some details, whenever we find it out, just block out your Sunday or Monday night, because we're going to need you on board to talk all about the things that we've seen. We'll stake that claim in the dirt right now, just to make sure we're ahead of the curve a little bit. It's going to be pretty exciting.
The flag in.
Yeah, stick the flag in. We've claimed
stick
it.
The flag in.
It'll be good to have you on board whenever that time comes. And yeah, expect us to pop in your inbox to try and get you on the show when that time comes, because very few know Nintendo like you do, and it'll be handy to have your thoughts when that time comes. All right. Any other thoughts on all things Nintendo before we wrap this up?
It's a great time to be a Nintendo fan, that's for sure.
I'll buy the Nintendo if Chris Pratt announces it.
You'll buy it anyway.
But when? If Chris Pratt's there, because he's a cool guy,
You buy it on the spot.
I'll buy it. But we won't see Chris Pratt, because you know why? Jeff will tell him to wrap it up, so we won't get to hear it.
Those dang Coopers.
Fucking Jeff Keighley. Who knows what's in store for us in the next week and a half with the Game Awards. But all right, well, we'll wrap things up there. If you enjoyed this episode of Patch, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. All the buttons down below. Hit the notification bell. That way you're alerted to every new video the moment it goes live on the channel. That includes Patch. We've got some Player 2 plays. There's shorts and more. Check it all out on the YouTube channel. Visit the website, player2.net.au, for reviews, previews, opinion pieces, news features, links to the podcast series, Patch, the Player 2 Pixelcast, and Dev Diary. We're on Patreon, patreon.com/player2au. Kick in a few bucks, lower tiers early access, higher tiers monthly episode exclusives, and finally there's Twitter. Matto.
Matto_Phil.
Jamie.
Jamie Penning.
Paul James Games for myself. The website is player2au. And until next time, GameCube's up, everyone. We'll see you later. Oh no! I caught them all off guard. Get your GameCubes up. Oh, he's put it back in the box.
I put it back in the box.
In the meantime, we'll get the Helldivers thing going too. Like everyone, yeah.
Wait.
For Supercube.
We got it for Supercube. There we go. There's 2 out of 3. Keep it up. We've almost got Mattos. Hurry up. This is like the worst closing for a show ever. There we go. Okay. Actually, jeez, like yours looks like in great nick in particular, Matto.
That's because I brought it brand new. My other one got stolen, so I got another one.
Oh, like as new, it looks great. Jamie, yours looks pretty solid as
My
well
old
from the picture, but this thing's seen better days.
Probably because this came from a loser who didn't play it and just gave it away.
That bloke clearly never played Wind Waker.
Joke's on you. I have a GameCube. I have your GameCube. And you're
This
not getting it back either. Mine.
All right, we'll see you
as the
later, everyone.
seagulls say.